Marcus Semien, the newest New York Met. Thoughts?
I would love this trade in 2023.
He was very, very good in 2023.
Got that right. Marcus. So here's what I'll say. Marcus Semien, crazy to think about it, is like a borderline Hall of Famer. Again, this is just how the things are calculated. The guy is a 49 WAR for his career. If he gets to 60, that's like right below Chase Utley and around that spot where people are going to point to a guy with several 5 WAR seasons, a couple of top 5 5 WAR. He has 3 7 WAR seasons in his career as a second baseman / shortstop. There's just not a lot of history behind guys with that type of peak, right? I'm not saying I would make him a Hall of Famer. I'm saying he will be in the borderline conversation if he continues to accrue this type of value with his glove. Having said that, you want to talk about Nimmo being on the wrong side of 30. Semien's about to be on the wrong side of 35 offensively, which is why I want to stress this can't be a move that's 1-to-1 offensively. I do like that he's a right-handed bat. You and I have talked about how left-handed heavy this lineup could have been. Mm-hmm. The fact that you now add a righty to the mix, I mean, it allows you when Beatty, if Brett Beatty's now the everyday third baseman, you can now go get a left-handed outfielder if you want to, in Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger, or just explore the market. And you know that you also have a right-handed second baseman, like his bat. I'm assuming like him instead of Jeff McNeil will be the eventual trade that comes into the mix. Mm-hmm. And look, we've never really talked about this, but the outcry that they didn't re-sign Iglesias, I always thought was overrated from a chemistry.
He was terrible.
Well, so everybody kept saying like the chemistry. He was a leader in the clubhouse. Why isn't JD Martinez back? And it's like what they didn't miss that song last year. They missed the fact that he was second in WAR on the team and hit 337. Like Iglesias was awesome. He finished his Mets career on a 22-game hitting streak. Like they missed his productivity and the fact that you had a Gold Glove up the middle double play combination between Iglesias and Lindor, and Iglesias was playing out of his mind. And it's why the Padres last year were like a really good defensive team and a really good pitching team, and eventually lost because they don't hit home runs. And it's probably because they spent $5 million on a backup utility infielder that made a song that everybody liked. So I like that they're now pairing Lindor and Semien. Both guys. There's a conversation about Lindor's defense that we're eventually going to have if it takes another step back like it did. But guys in their mid to early 30s, that should still be a good double play combination this season. That's my thoughts about Mark Semien being the new second baseman of the New York Mets.
Yeah, if Jose Iglesias was on the Mets in 2025 and he had the exact same season he had in San Diego, the same Met fans who were like, Jose Iglesias should have been back, Jose Iglesias should have been back, would have been screaming for him to be released in May. Like, we can call a spade a spade. He was very impactful on the Mets in 2024 because of his production and because of the vibe. I won't discount the vibes entirely, but like that only works if you're playing well. So yeah, we can put that to bed. Semien definitely upgrades them offensively, defensively at the position. And again, I think you almost are like, you have to think of it opposite, where this move is going to make them better offensively at second, worse offensively, the outfield. And then their next move likely will make them better offensively at the hole that they just opened up. And then the question will be, have they netted out to be better than they were before? Let's say, just to not get crazy, I don't want to throw out Kyle Tucker, even though I do think it's possible now. I don't think it's likely, but let's go with a slightly more conservative option, even though I'm not sure this will even happen. Let's say the Mets have Cody Bellinger playing left field or center field. and Semien, is that better than the combination of McNeil and Nimmo last year?
Yes. I think so. Yes.
So, right
From a
there.
If you're netting out run prevention plus run creation, you got so much better defensively. And I think it grades out. It grades out fine offensively.
I think, because here's the thing, right? When you're comparing Bellinger offensively to Alonso's going to win every time, especially when you factor in the Yankee Stadium stuff. But if you're comparing Bellinger offensively to Nimmo, it's all of a sudden that's a much closer conversation with significantly better defense. And then, Semien is significantly better defensively than McNeil is at the position or anybody else they were playing at second base last year, aside from Acuna. And I saw a couple people throw out like, well, if you're just going to go for defense at second base, why get rid of Nimmo? Like, just play Acuna there. For as bad as Semien was offensively last year, he was not 500 OPS bad that Luis Angel Acuna is. Like, the guy's really fast. He's a great glove. He's a great stolen base guy. If you're making the playoffs and you need that like Terrence Gore, Dave Roberts kind of guy, you can't play him every day at all. Like, he just cannot hit at all at this level right now. And for a team in a position that they're in, you cannot rely on that. Marcus Semien, for his warts, and he was an offensive average player in 2024 and a below average offensive player this past season, is still significantly better than Acuna has ever been, even at his worst. And I think that's an upgrade there. And whatever you get from him offensively, I think is probably going to be gravy. You'd like him to be a little bit better than he was this past season for sure. But at minimum, you have a right-handed bat who's not a complete automatic out with a little bit of pop, who's going to give you very, very good defense at second base. And that alone is an upgrade.
So just some splits for people that care about this stuff. Marcus Semien last season, his platoon splits against righties, he had a 228 average, a 300 on base, a 379 slug, which is good for a 679 OPS. But versus lefties, it's even worse. He had a 234 average, which is higher, a 319 on base, but a 323 slugging percentage against lefties, which gives him a 642 OPS. Now, he hit 265 with runners in scoring position, which I think would grade out as like fourth on the Mets last season.
He'd be one of the best Mets.
So it ends up being good. But look, I'm going by Baseball Reference, so I don't have Fangraphs in front of me, but it's why I liken the comp to Iglesias and what they missed last year. In 2024, the Mets had Francisco Lindor had a 6.9 B WAR on Baseball Reference. So he was like one of the most valuable players in baseball. The second highest WAR on the Mets offensively was Jose Iglesias, and it's because of what he brought them defensively. Now, Mark Vientos was tied in that department, so he ends up being equally as valuable for what his bat was that season. But Marcus Semien also just finished a season despite how bad he was offensively. And I don't know if I need to go even further, Rich, but looking at his month-to-month splits for Marcus Semien, we're looking at a guy that had one good month. Like in April, had a 504 OPS. In May, had a 574 OPS. In July, had a 699 OPS. In August, had a 629 OPS. The 1 month that's the outlier is June, where he had a 932 OPS, which is how he was able to finish with the numbers that he finished with last season, which, like you said, was a pretty rancid offensive year. He's a 7 or 8 hitter at this point. You need to go now, get a new cleanup hitter, get a new 5 hitter, 6 hitter, whatever you have it. There's work to be done. This is not like a 1-to-1 swap offensively. You have helped your defense. Now go fix your offense.
You remember Xavier Edwards for the Marlins?
Yes, the 0 home run guy.
0 home run guy, but absolutely killed the Mets. Was one of those guys that everybody was like, man, if the Mets had an Xavier Edwards, they would be so much better. Marcus Semien was one spot behind Xavier Edwards in WAR for second baseman this year, 2.5 to 2.1.
Well, there you go.
Semien was tied with Jose Altuve in WAR this past season. Somewhat a mark against Altuve for how he started to age, but still. And ahead of somebody like a Brandon Lau, who Mets fans and David Stearns, as we know, was very interested in each of the last two seasons. So not a complete dog. He was 13th in WAR for second baseman, so slightly above middle of the pack at that position, which is not bad. And you know whose name I'm not seeing on here high in the rankings is Jeff McNeil.
Yeah,
an improvement.
It's an improvement. They got a better second baseman than they used to have for sure. I will have to leave this live stream recognizing the step back they took from an offensive standpoint. Like that is going to be my takeaway from that side of things. But it's why like they opened themselves up to where this conversation started to now get more creative with the outfield. I don't know. I think you just hit on it. Like, I don't know that Marcus Semien is an everyday second baseman anymore. I think he's an everyday defensive second baseman. If you've got a loaded lineup, yeah, you can play him and Beatty and bat them 7th and 8th and be fine. Mm-hmm. If he's hitting cleanup or second on opening day, something went wrong this offseason, which is why that's an overreaction. But you did just replace your cleanup hitter with a guy that's going to hit 7th. And the third hitter is not a guarantee to come back. So now I think Barron said this on Twitter, like, it's an incomplete from me. I like that they got better defensively. I now need to see what they do offensively.